Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun and today I am here to review the first two episodes of Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, the show. The Disney Plus show. Now, low-key, Disney Plus hasn't had the best track record with these live action shows. Now, Willow, I liked Willow, but admittedly it kind of did peter out and eventually ended up getting canceled. Shit, Willow didn't just get canceled. Like, I think Willow got, like, shelved or something. Like, I think something happened to Willow to where they can't even, like, send it anywhere else. Like, they super shelved Willow. So, you know, they basically wrote Willow off for tax purposes. So, Willow didn't really work out. But, not that long ago, a young adult show that I really enjoyed, that I was really looking forward to, and funny enough, a show I compared to Percy Jackson, American Born Chinese, came out, and that was fantastic. So much great representation, such a cool, interesting style. Visually, it was unique, and from on the top of that, it had awesome kung fu scenes. It had my favorite mythological hero in Sun Wukong. I love Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. I love that character. It had him, so seeing him kick ass with the Roy G. Bang was awesome. Seeing all these mythological Chinese, because like Chinese mythology just isn't tapped so often. We know some things, mostly Sun Wukong, but there's so much more to Chinese mythology that's super fucking weird that just wasn't tapped. So it was cool seeing it tapped in that show. I like the main protagonists, particularly the main protagonist. I was rooting for him. I liked the story arc. I took the fuck out of American Born Chinese. But, not that long ago, maybe a few years ago now, it was announced that the writer and his wife, which I don't know if she helped him write the story, I'm going to assume she did, were both, what's the word I'm looking for? They're both helping work on the script and the casting for the show. They're executive producers on this show. So that was very fucking cool. And the writer would go on and on, because I can't remember the writer's name, but he was not a big fan of those original Percy Jackson movies. Me neither. I didn't mind the first one, but the second one was complete ass cheeks. It was really, really bad. But from what I've heard, it wasn't too faithful to the original series. To the original Percy Jackson series, which me and the Percy Jackson series is so funny. I have such a weird relationship with those books because the books came out while I was in middle school. Funny enough, fun story, just a side little story. When I was in middle school, we were studying, at a certain point in the English class, we were studying mythology. I am a mythology junkie. I love mythology. Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Egyptian mythology, Japanese mythology. I love me some mythology. I just love it. It's just such a fascinating thing, and it's such an interesting thing to think about the world of magic on that kind of a grand scale. That's why I love that I really did God of War and things of that nature, games of that nature as well. I'm looking forward to this one game that's coming out about the Monkey King Sun Wukong. I think it's called, I can't remember, Black Myth or something like that. But I'm looking forward to that game. I'm a huge fan of mythology. But when we were studying it in school that time, we had to write our own story based on mythology. And ironically enough, I wrote a story, now different names and whatnot, but I wrote a story about a kid in school who turns out is a half-blood. And turns out his father, now I think I wrote his father was Zeus. I can't remember if I did the Percy, but it was so similar. The beginning of the Percy Jackson book was so similar to what I was writing in middle school that, when it came out, you can ask my friend Seth, I would blurt all the time, he ripped me off, man. Yes, I know I'm in middle school. Yes, I know only one person saw this, and it was only one person read this, and it was my teacher, and I think he gave me a C on it, but guess what? Damn it, he somehow went into my brain and stole my idea. I just remember the Percy Jackson books came out at the exact same time I wrote that. It was crazy. I was like, what the fuck? How? Anyways, after that, I've always had this fun, unique relationship with the Percy Jackson books and the Percy Jackson movies, because it's just this is a weird thing that it's a weird thing that is how did I think this when someone else thought very clearly along the same lines as me? It's pretty cool. It was just a unique situation. It was just a unique situation of people's minds just thinking in the same path. It was bizarre. But anyways, so I have a special relationship with this particular project. So I was looking forward to this. They cast the kid they cast as Percy Jackson was from the I don't know if you guys remember that what was it called? The something project. It had Ryan Reynolds and Mark Ruffalo in it, when they were like, it was like a time travel one, and they had the kid who was playing the young Ryan Reynolds, and he was so fun and interesting and funny as the young Ryan Reynolds. He was just such a little shit that you believed he was the young Ryan Reynolds. Like, he was so good that you were just like, damn, this kid's gonna do something. And occasionally you see a young actor like that, you see him in something. The kids from Stranger Things, obviously. Millie Bobby Brown in the first season of Stranger Things. Things of that nature where you're like, yo, this kid has some chops. I like what this kid's bringing to the table. He has a wit to him. He has a wit to him that is only gonna grow the older he gets. And they cast him as Percy, and I was right then and there. I was like, okay, now who they cast as Grover and whatnot? I was like, I don't know about that. But also who they cast as the gods. They cast some really known names as the gods, like people that you would know. This also happens to be the last role of Lance Reddick. You've probably seen him before. He's the guy in John Wick with the glasses. You've seen Lance Reddick in so many things, and this is his last role too. So that's also an interesting reason, a good reason to watch the show too, if for nothing, to see his last performance. I say all of that to say that the show lives up to the potential of the book. Now, I was worried that they maybe didn't have the CGI, they maybe didn't have the budget to really play up the stuff that happens in the book, because it's very heavy and over the top. But they do it, man. I love the story, and it's a classic story. Percy Jackson, awkward kid, feels like he doesn't fit in. Now they don't play it like, now it's not like him. Now, granted, he does feel like he doesn't fit in, but he's not whiny about it. Sometimes they do the whole, I don't fit in, I'm being bullied, and the kid just kind of comes off whiny. I mean, sure, he's being bullied, and you understand that, but it kind of comes off like, like he's 10 minutes away from shooting up the school. Something like that. Like he's whining. He's like, I will get vengeance on them. Like sometimes the way they play Spider-Man up, it seems like he's like 5 minutes away from doing bodily harm to someone. And it's like, oh man, like it seems like it's going, like you're like, wow, like do I want this kid, what's up with this kid? Whereas that's not how they play it here. He's being bullied and he feels bad, but he he doesn't understand it. But he's like, I don't give a fuck. Well, he gives a fuck, but it's like, all right, this is what it is. I'm not gonna make a deal about it. I got a friend. It sucks, but you know what? I'm gonna just keep pushing forward. My mom's having a hard time. I'm having a hard time. It is what it is. Like he's not really he's handling it very realistically. He's handling being bullied very realistically. How I probably would have handled being bullied. I wasn't bullied very much at all, if at all. Particularly in my high school years. I played football, so, I knew a bunch of fucking big-ass dudes. Ain't no one fucking with me. But I can only imagine how I would handle if I was being bullied. And I would hope I would handle it very similar to how Percy's handling. Which is just chill and just like, okay, whatever, fuck it. Do whatever the fuck you're gonna do. I don't give a fuck. But he's constantly seeing these visions, these things that don't exist, but they do exist. Like, he's constantly seeing shit. And this is one of those fantasy worlds where they do the whole veil thing. Some fantasy worlds, it's like hidden, like it's like legit hidden, like the fantasy stuff is like covered up so well, but it's actually happening. So like you got like worlds like Supernatural, where like the Supernatural the show, where vampires and all these things, they exist. They're out here doing their thing, but they just keep a low profile, because obviously if mankind finds out they exist, they'll kill them all. You have things like that. And then you got things like there's a actual magical veil that is like stopping the normal human race, human beings, from being able to see the fucking actual things going on, to see the magical, creatures and whatnot. Like that stuff never stopped. Like there's still magical creatures, there's still gods. It's just we can't see them. Us mortals can't see them or interact with them unless they want to interact with us. And that's a very interesting, different way to go about it. Not different way, but that's the other way that they go about it. And that's the approach they take in this movie, because turns out Percy is like ever so subtly seeing behind the veil. He's seeing behind the veil. He's seeing behind the veil. And then one day, a creature comes after him. He gets attacked in school. Obviously, no one can see this creature but him. He looks a bit crazy, gets kicked out of his school. Crazy shit's going on. And then his mom tells him the full story, that I met your father on the beach, that your father is like, turns out your father was a god, that you are a half-blood. And being a half-blood makes you a for some reason it makes the darker creatures of the world come after you, want to kill you, or use you. Which to me makes sense. As a mythology guy, it makes sense, right? If you can't get to the actual god, because it'd be much too hard to get to that god, or much too difficult to get to that god, but you want to get to the god's kid, or you want to use that, particularly if you want to use that god's kid, that blood of a god, get to the demigod, get to the kid, you know? And the way they play it up is like, it used to be a little bit like the veil has gotten thicker over the years. Like, it used to be a little less thinner, you know, we had guys like Perseus and shit, and like Hercules and things of that nature doing shit back in the day. But then it kind of got a bit thicker over the years. But the gods are still coming out fucking humans and getting pregnant, and, you know, because, you know, they're still coming down and fucking with humans. They're still doing their thing. It's just like, and there's also this nice little part of it that could kind of potentially explain extraordinary men and extraordinary women as children of the gods. That's a kind of an interesting way to think about it. But either way, Percy, he has to escape. He has to go to this camp, train. His mother is killed, though it turns out his mother was not killed. It turns out Hades kidnapped his mom for nefarious purposes. We don't know why. We haven't gotten that far yet. I mean, I know, but, you know, you don't know because you're only getting to see 2 episodes. So I'm kind of having a hard time talking about it without spoiling it, because I'm like, while I'm talking about it, I'm thinking about what I know, and I'm almost saying stuff. But either way, what happened in this show is very well directed. I really dig the main protagonist. The scenes with him and his mother were touching. The CGI is actually way better. There's a fight sequence in the first episode with a Minotaur that went way better than I expected. I mean, he broke off a Minotaur's horn and stabbed him in the head with it. And I was like, okay, Percy, that was pretty hardcore, actually. I was like, that was low-key hardcore. Like, he's obviously naturally gifted. And that's kind of the sometimes they do these stories and it's like, oh, they're okay. No, Percy is obviously naturally gifted, which once you find out who his daddy is, Poseidon, minor spoilers, it's the first 2 episodes, it's not that big of a deal, and it's fucking easily given away. It's pretty much given away, and if you actually see the poster, it gives it away. But once you find out that his daddy's one of the big 3, which they make a huge deal that the big 3 are not supposed to be having children. Poseidon, Hades, and Zeus. Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades are not supposed to have children. So once you find out that his dad is Poseidon, which means his dad broke some hardcore illegal rules. Once you find that out, you're like, hey dude, like, that makes sense why he's so skillful, why he's so good, because she is the son of one of the big 3 gods. Now, to be fair, one of his other friends that he meets, this girl, very interesting girl, she is the daughter of Athena, and I like the fact that since she's the daughter of Athena, she has a tactical mind, because that's what Athena's is. You know, she's the goddess of strategy, dude. She's the goddess of strategy and wisdom. So her daughter would be born unusually smart, unusually strategical, and unusually wise. So that's very interesting, right? That's a very interesting combination. I like, and you've seen already in the trailer a few of the gods. I don't know if you saw Poseidon yet. I don't know, but if this show goes well, which I'm really hoping it does, we could get all the books, man, because I want to get all those books. And actually, I believe the writer of the original Percy Jackson just came out with a new book not that long ago. But I want to get all the books on here, man. I can't wait for the next episode to come out next week. I would give Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief a 9 out of 10. Great start, great main protagonist, good CGI. It's very well written. It's funny when it needs to be. It's touching when it needs to be. The action set sequences are directed very well. shockingly. I mean, because it's a bunch of chill kids for the most part. So you're like, I don't know how that's going to look. The CGI looked way better than I expected it to. And I'm actually excited for this. It really has a Harry Potter-esque vibe to it, which I'm sure that's what they were going for. But, because that's what this book was in the vein of anyways, is Harry Potter. Everyone has been chasing that Harry Potter flame of, like, having a young boy grow up and go through a journey in multiple books. Like, everybody's been chasing that kind of flame. And this book, I think, did a pretty good job, and this show did a pretty good job. And thank you for joining our Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. What did you think of Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, episodes 1 and 2? See you guys again. See you on the next one.